60 gigabytes of secret sexual fantasies, real names, and credit card transactions belonging to 32 million users dumped online in a single day.
Yeah, it was easily one of the most devastating digital exposures in history, and it all revolved around a single massive lie.
Right, so today we're looking at a stack of cybersecurity postmortems for this deep dive. Our mission is to answer one critical question. Why are our most trusted systems failing so spectacularly?
Yeah, it's a huge question.
Okay, let's unpack this. The target in this thriller was Ashley Madison, the notorious online cheating site.
Right, which in 2014 was an absolute juggernaut. I mean, they were generating $115 million a year.
But their fatal flaw was this feature they called full delete. It's like paying for a premium paper shredder, only to find out it just stores your most sensitive documents in a clear glass box in the town square.
Exactly. They charged a $19 fee to completely erase a user's profile.
Which users gladly paid for that peace of mind.
Oh, absolutely. It netted the company $1.7 million in 2014 alone. But it was a complete fabrication.
Right, totally made up.
Pretty much. While it hid the profile from public view, the company secretly retained all the payment details. So real names and billing addresses were just sitting there on the servers.
Wow. So on July 19, 2015, a group calling itself the Impact Team breached those servers. And they issued a strict 30-day ultimatum to take the site offline entirely.
Which, obviously you don't just shut down a $100 million money machine overnight.
Yeah, no way.
So exactly 30 days later, on August 18, the hackers posted a message that simply read, "Time's up." And they dropped that 60-gigabyte data bomb.
And the fallout was catastrophic. Rampant extortion, public shaming, and tragically at least 2 suicides tied to the exposure.
Yeah, it was awful. It also laid bare the site's own internal secrets. It turned out 84% of the profiles were male.
Right, and fewer than 1% of the female profiles were actually used on a regular basis.
Yeah, mostly an empty room. Even the CEO's private emails were leaked, which eventually forced his resignation.
Okay, but before we get to the wider fallout, I'm stuck on something. Like, who actually pulls off a hack of this magnitude?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the hacker's own manifesto strongly suggested an insider threat.
An insider?
Really? Yeah. The language they used, combined with their intricate access to internal network maps and credentials, it really pointed to someone who had directly touched the company's technical services.
Which leads us to a terrifying pattern across all the source material you shared with us today. When we look at these massive data breaches, the call is so often coming from inside the house.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the threat isn't always a shadowy figure hacking through a firewall. Sometimes it's the very people hired to be built.
Right.
Take Ubiquiti. A trusted cloud administrator actually faked a cyber heist to extort his own company, causing immense reputational damage.
Okay, I can see one rogue employee doing damage, but another source mentions CISA, the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency.
Right, the government's premier cybersecurity agency.
How does an insider take them down?
By exploiting the most mundane administrative oversight. A third-party contractor basically just manually disabled a specific security protection on GitHub.
Just disabled it. Just like that.
Yeah. And because of that single manual change, highly sensitive AWS GovCloud keys.
Which are basically the master skeleton keys to highly restricted government servers, right?
Exactly. Those keys, along with plaintext passwords, were leaked straight to the public.
So, human error or malice from the inside. But what about systemic flaws from vendors? The target breach in these reports lost 40 million credit card numbers.
Yeah, that was massive.
How does an air conditioning company get you access to a huge retail credit card database?
It really comes down to a failure in network segmentation. Target gave a third-party HVAC vendor access to a portal for billing and project management.
Okay, sure.
But because that portal wasn't properly walled off from the rest of the company's network, attackers who compromised the HVAC vendor could just digitally walk through the portal straight into the point-of-sale systems.
Wow, just walked right in. And Experian exposed 15 million T-Mobile applicants through what the reports call a simple URL glitch. I'm assuming that's not just a typo.
Not a typo, no. It was an application logic flaw. The system was designed so that once you verified your identity, it sent you to a specific web address to view the data.
Let me guess. Thieves just skipped the verification.
Exactly. They figured out they could just skip it entirely and type in that specific URL structure to pull up user records.
It really highlights how messy the methods and motivations behind these breaches can get. Speaking of messy motivations, It's worth noting a bizarre detail from the Ashley Madison investigations.
Oh, right, the build-up to that attack.
Yeah. The CEO is facing targeted harassment from extremist and neo-Nazi cybercrime forums in the months prior.
And we should be clear, we're purely looking at what the threat intelligence reports say here to understand the landscape. We are impartially reporting the source data without endorsing any political viewpoints.
Of course, yeah. Strictly impartial.
But it just underscores how chaotic and unpredictable the threat environment surrounding these massive data troves actually is.
So what does this all mean for you? It means your personal data is only as secure as the most disgruntled employee or the weakest third-party contractor at the companies you trust.
Yeah, it requires a complete paradigm shift in how we think about privacy. I mean, you can use strong passwords and two-factor authentication, but once your information enters a corporate ecosystem, you are entirely at the mercy of their internal access controls.
Which leaves us with a chilling question for you to mull over. If paying for a full delete guarantees absolutely nothing and the biggest threats are already sitting comfortably inside the server room, how much of your digital footprint relies purely on the blind hope that corporations are telling you the truth? Just think about that clear glass box in the town square next time you hit submit.